Lake Hughes Road is in that general area. There's a lot of canyons out here as well. As far as the backside of it goes, those embers, every time I'm moving the camera around, I'm looking out the window because we've seen that so many times in the past. All that header, all that smoke right there, if it starts dropping embers down into these neighborhoods right here, that could be that is going to change the game completely. So I'm keeping an eye out, making sure that we don't see any hot spots over there. I'm going to bring up the other map here real quick and give you an idea where that portion is, because they were talking about the 5 freeway. So the 5 freeway definitely going to be covered by smoke right now, but and this is going to be on the other side of the 5 freeway, that neighborhood out there, and that's one of the spots where the header, the smoke is blowing in that general direction. Keeping an eye on it, making sure we don't see any of those hot spots pop up, the embers, and have any of those problems that we've seen so often with these vegetation fires in the past couple of weeks. But right now, it does actually seem, I'm actually going to say this out loud, seems like the fire is slowing down a little bit because it's cresting a lot of these hillsides right here. And then, of course, with all those helicopters dropping water, I think that is going to be very, very beneficial for that whole firefight. Yeah, the super scoopers are here.
The super
so
scoopers.
They are definitely working with their aerial assets, and this is really great to see. The wind's not that dangerous, not that high. So the super scoopers are up here, and also the helicopters. So that is great, and we're going to see the big difference. And I'm just going to, because we're actually moving, let me swing the camera really around out here. I've got 2 of the big planes out here. There's one in the distance and one right here, and they are circling, waiting for the fire attack. That's basically a mobile tower for these guys to basically say, hey, you can come in, you can start doing drops. And of course, they got this one, and then there's another one. I just don't want to lose one for the other. There's another one right over here, but I think I'm going to get Skyfox in the shot, and I think that's the one that's going to do the first drop. But look at how quickly they get out here. Look at how quickly they're making their way. And so this is, these are like the heroes. This is like the cavalry coming in, and they're going to start dropping the Phosgec, that flame retardant. But they have to wait for air attack to basically tell them, hey, you're safe to come in, because the fixed wing can't come into that area when the helicopters are out there. So that's what we're waiting on right now. But they are here, they're ready, and you know, again, another positive is their base is relatively close by. It's going to be Fox Field, so their turnaround time is going to be a lot better as well.
And it's great to see that lake just brimming with water right there. Their resources, what they need to tackle that fire is all right there, as we heard from the Forest Service. And again, we should have mentioned that the evacuation orders do extend from Lake Hughes Road to Templin Highway at this point. But let's bring in Samara, who could tell us a little bit about the winds we're seeing and this big plume of smoke.
Oh, yes. Of course, we have been tracking those winds very carefully. And unfortunately, in the Castaic area, it is part of the red flag conditions. And because we have been reporting on gusts that could eventually reach up to 50 to 60 miles an hour, and the dry vegetation coupled together makes extreme and critical fire concerns. And just seeing this unfold is a little disheartening, but seeing the aerial assets getting a good handle, that is definitely good news. And it's all very strategic how, of course, they attack this fire. And with those fire conditions and winds, it's going to be a tough battle ahead into this afternoon. The high wind warnings, as you can see here on our map, yes, applies to areas of Castaic and through portions of our local mountain areas from Santa Susana Mountains out towards the San Gabriel Mountains. And wind advisories will also be in place all the way through tonight. Here's the red flag conditions. In addition to those winds, sustained a range of 15, 20 to even up to 35 miles an hour, perhaps even stronger for those mountain areas. But it's those concerning bursts of gusts that could reach up to 60 in some of those places, and that continues to be a big concern. Critical fire weather relative humidity down into the teens. We have been talking about how our vegetation is so dry. This is unprecedented in terms of how dry we are for this time of year. It's January. We should have already seen storm systems come through and give us plenty of rain, but we just have not seen it. We've had multiple rounds of Santa Ana winds. Those are the winds going offshore, and they are drying. We've already had 5 particularly dangerous situations, and it's all due to, again, the vegetation and those strong gusts and bursts of winds. Moving ahead with these conditions, unfavorable for firefighters. They have been working round the clock and tirelessly on top of that to try to contain these fires. Now, we are getting word, is it correct, about 500 acres?
Well,
currently?
so Watch Duty app is saying 500 acres, but we're actually going to be going with what Cal Fire says, which is 100 acres.
100 acres, and it is a fast-moving fire. We did address if a new fire were to start, how explosive it can be. And unfortunately, yeah, seeing it unfold before our eyes, it does look like they're getting a decent handle on the situation, because we are seeing a little bit of the white smoke, but the smoke is blowing a little bit more, as you can see, more horizontally. And that's just a good indication that the winds in that particular area is strong, and it will continue to spread. And with the dry chaparral, the trees and the grass, there's plenty of vegetation for that fire to continue to grow. And you couple, again, winds and dry weather, unfortunately, makes perfect conditions for fire activity. Red flag conditions, as I mentioned, into tonight. We've got to be on our toes. Any sign of a fire, you want to make sure if you see something, you say something. So critical. But there is some good news on the way as we push into this weekend. We have rain in the forecast, and we're expecting to get about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain at times, and that is going to help with the firefight. But it is a few days out. Now, with the incoming rain, we have also addressed this, the fact that there could be thunderstorms embedded in the rainfall, and the chance of heavy downpours associated with the thunderstorms, if it were to occur over a burn scar, that could lead to a whole set of new issues in the terms of mud and debris flow, flash flooding concerns. Hence, our city officials are working around the clock to try to get the word out to the public, if you live in those zones, to make sure you prepare, not just for, again, dry and windy conditions and the fact that there could be additional fires, but the fact that rain is on the way that could pose a whole new set of problems. Dryness. We have, brought that to your attention. Southern California, the driest record, or should I say the driest beginnings of the water year that we have seen. We're under conditions that we haven't seen before. When we're dealing with January, typically we should be seeing at least over 2 to 3 inches of rain already accumulated, and we're just not seeing that. Getting into February, our wettest month of the entire year, brings us a little more hope that we'll get more rain, and that should help with increasing the moisture levels in our vegetation across Southern California. So there's going to be a little bit of good news on the way, as I mentioned, with the incoming rain, but it's a double-edged sword, especially in the fire zones. The Palisades Fire, the Eaton Fire, if the thunderstorms were to occur over there, it's going to be a big problem. Even just a little rain, we're already dealing, and we've addressed this before, those hillsides across the Palisades and the Eaton Fire area, very vulnerable. So it doesn't take very much to perhaps destabilize the area. So hence the attention in those areas. Red flag conditions, we're looking in not just for LA County and Ventura County, we're looking at areas across the Inland Empire communities, as well as Orange County with these red flag conditions. Critical fire weather does continue on. And even after the incoming rain, we are watching to see if there's another round of offshore winds. So we may be battling several more rounds of Santa Anas in between rainstorms, and the rain that we're hoping to come, hoping it should be on the beneficial side, and we're hoping that the thunderstorms don't pose the risk that we are forecasting in those burn locations. But taking a look at the footage right now, this is something that
Yeah.
we're hoping against.
It's moving pretty quickly, and that is the concern right now. Our photojournalist Justin O'Brien is there on the ground. Justin, if you can hear us, are you there? You're not there yet. Okay, so if you're just joining us, it's 11:42 on this Wednesday. We are tracking this rapidly moving brush fire in the Castaic area. This is Lake Hughes Road near Castaic Lake. It's being called the Hughes Fire. Calls first came in around 10:53. This is according to CAL FIRE, and it has quickly spread to about 100 acres in that area.
And there are evacuation orders in place, a level 3 go in areas such as Cambridge, Castaic Lake, Green Hill, Hazley, Hillcrest, Paradise Ranch, Ridge, Romero, and Sloan. So that is a level 3 go. If you're getting those evacuation orders, please leave immediately just for your health and safety. There are evacuation warnings as well for this huge fire. We're talking about Bitter Canyon, Charlie Canyon, Castaic Ridge, Sloan, and Green Hill. Golden State as well. So again, those are warnings. Be ready to leave if necessary. But speaking to the fire official just moments ago, there seems to be a different tone, as triggering as it is watching this right now unfolding on your TV screens. It did sound like the winds are less in terms of strength, less strong, and also it's blowing the fire in a different direction away from a lot of those structures. We also see the aerial attack swiftly coming in to make those drops. So
you see those huge aerial tankers right there just waiting to make that hazmat or the FOS check drops, and then just kind of surveying the area and seeing where they can make those drops. The wind seems to be manageable in that area, not too severe to where, you know, you would take the fire retardant and it blows everywhere. But yeah, you see a number of also super scoopers in the air. The lake is obviously right nearby. Number of helicopters as well, and that is making a difference in this sort of tug of war that we're fighting against this fresh vegetation in this area. Even though this area has seen its share of brush fires, it doesn't seem like it's seen one in quite a while. And we're also just getting in new evacuation orders. This is a level 3 go for Cambridge, Green Hill area, Hazley, Hillcrest, Paradise Ranch, Ridge, Romero, and Sloan. And then you have evacuation warnings, which means just get your go bag together. That is for Bitter Canyon, Charlie Canyon, Golden State, and yes, just looking at these aerial tankers right now and seeing the flames start to spread.
Yeah, and Nick, you could see, as Stu was showing you from Skyfox as well, the I-5. If you're driving along there, you'll probably feel and see the smoke. But there are current road closures due to the Hughes Fire. Ridge Road at Lake Hughes Ridge Route is closed at Templin Highway as well. Lake Hughes at Pine Canyon. Dry Gulch at San Francisco Canyon Road. The I-5 is currently open though, but it is impacted by the heavy smoke. So if you're driving through there, please drive safely through that area. And look at that drop.
Well, that's, good to see that. But also we're just now getting confirmation from CAL FIRE that this fire has now jumped to 500 acres from 100 acres just a few moments ago. So you can see how quickly this fire seems to be moving, even though it's battling against these winds. There's another aerial drop that you see right there over the ridge line, hoping to contain those flames. Stu, can you hear us? I know you're in Skyfox, but do you have your earpiece back up and running?
I kind of hear you out there, and we're just watching as those planes, those tankers are dropping their FOS check. That's that flame retardant, and they are hitting two sides of the fire. They're hitting our side right here, which I'm going to call the south side, but they're also dropping on the other side of the smoke as well. When I was talking about air attack earlier on, I would venture to say that is air attack. So there's somebody inside that plane that's basically picking the spots where the tankers are going to do their drops. There's another one. Look at how low that is. That must be an e-ticket ride for sure. But they are making their way around out here, and they do the drops where where that smaller plane tells them to do it. They're also controlling where the helicopters are. So when these tankers are out here doing those FOS check drops, the helicopters, they are either waiting someplace or they are actually going to be out there hitting some other hot spots in a different portion of the fire. Now, like I said, where these tankers are getting the FOS check from is going to be out at Fox Field. Now, that's Lancaster, but you know what? It's not that far away from this fire, and that's going to be very helpful for this entire firefight. Now, the super scoopers, they are out here as well. They don't have to go somewhere. They just look for water. They might be picking up over here at Bouquet Canyon at the reservoir, or they might be actually over at Castaic. I'm trying to figure that one out myself right now. But you can see all the tankers. They did their drops. They're all turning around. They're heading out to the north. So there's going to be a little bit of a queue up there by Fox Field where they land. They got to get their water. They got to get the water. They got to get their FOS check, and then they're going to turn around and come right back. My concern is I was trying to hear you guys on the IFB because it's very staticky out here, but you can see those flames running up to the north, and on Castaic off the 5, that area up there does have some homes, and I don't know if you were talking about evacuations, but it seems to be a whole different, like it's kind of come around a corner and making their way up towards the north along the 5 freeway. So this fire definitely growing. They might be able to slow it down in the portion that's like right over here, but it's definitely moving the other way now. So it's going northeast from where we are and creating another plume of smoke out there. But these firefighters, they got their hands full,